You voted, and here's the results of last week's episode.
Yeah, give him about 50 cc's. Hi, I'm Ian. And this used to be Rick. And today, we're going to be discussing the undead, from their many different origins to their on-screen portrayals, and all the fleshy bits in between. Then we're going to pick your brain about whether or not these zombies could be real, or just another theory that makes you go, God! It's a zombie. My God, what kind of zombie could it be? Truth is, it could be a multitude of different conscious corpses. And knowing the difference could save your life. Or just increase your chances of winning Zombie Trivia Night. So before we go on a brain-bashing spree, let's identify the different types of zombies. Then, we can decide which one could be real. Now, there are many different categories and subcategories of the undead in the lore of the Z world, but we've narrowed it down to 3 main classes: walkers, runners, and brisk joggers. Just kidding on the last one. Necromancers.
When people think of zombies, people think of walkers. They are the most commonly depicted form of zombie. The quintessential slow-moving, monotonous man-eaters traverse the land in droves, aimlessly wandering until stumbling upon living flesh. The first time we were introduced to these monsters was in 1932, in a Bela Lugosi film entitled White Zombie.
The sinister power behind the White Zombie.
But walkers, or at least the walkers we all know today, weren't seen until George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead in 1968.
And now we see them more commonly in hit shows like The Walking Dead.
These zombies are generally easy to avoid, at least in small numbers, that is.
They have died fully and been resurrected, most commonly by a bacteria that kills the body, or a plague that has wiped out a good chunk of mankind. The idea is the bacteria or foreign pathogen that has infiltrated the body utilizes the brain to reanimate dead cells. The depletion of nutrients and organic chemicals after death leads the undead human to search for sustenance.
The result? A once-dead meat machine on the hunt for living tissue.
I'm sorry, Mom.
What are some ways to kill zombies? Well, that's easy. Destroy the brain. There isn't a singular method for doing this, but there are preferred methods.
The most common would be to break the skull, smash the brain, and demolish the head entirely. This can be done with a heavy, blunt object, like a baseball bat, or an expensive lamp. Others would just rather use a ranged weapon, like a crossbow or a shotgun.
As long as that brain looks like a piñata after Cinco de Mayo, you're safe. Oh my God! This zombie is moving at a liberally increased rate! It's almost as if it's Runners, unlike walker zombies, are technically still alive. Although their body is not what it was before, they haven't died and come back to life.
This gives them an advantage when compared to walkers. Their legs work, or at least aren't decomposed to the point of limited mobility. They can run.
And if runners are anything like they're depicted in the movie 28 Days Later, they're fast too.
I can see them, they're coming! Get the tar on!
Right.
Get it on, Hannah, come on! Come on! Get it up! Fuck it up!
Now, the reason that runners are still considered zombies is because while still having a living brain, it is no longer functioning in any cognizant capacity. Most of the time, runners have been infected with a toxin or virus, and the virus plagues the body, takes over the mind, and causes the human to become violent. The infected human now has a taste for human flesh, and will attack with physical capabilities unlike anything before. Runners are not only dangerous because of what they can do when they get a hold of you, but just a simple bite from a runner, or a spatter of infected blood in the eye, means you're set to become one of them.
Jenny's infected! No!
Now, how to kill them.
With the walkers, you want to target the head, but with the runners, you want to keep those suckers off their feet. Slicing, shooting, or blowing up the runner's limb is your best bet to slowing them down.
Then all that's left is to finish the job. And with that, you can get creative. My God, what is that strange creature in the distance that's hypnotizing me with its voodoo magic? It must be a necromancer.
Necromancers are people that have died and been resurrected, but not by any virus, toxin, or life-regenerating plague.
Necromancers are dead souls whose physical bodies are being controlled by another living source, like a witch doctor or a witch without a PhD.
Necromancers are like walking flesh puppets, their master being a human or a rogue spirit who is utilizing black magic or some form of possession to control their bodies. Basically, there is no science to it at all, and necromancers are even harder to figure out or even describe, considering their intentions are guided by whoever is manipulating them.
What's even more difficult to break down is how to defend yourself against one of these, or if you even can. If the body has been taken over in its dead form, what's to say that the controller can't take over the skinny jeans it's wearing?
When it comes to warding off necromancer attacks, we don't know if you go for the legs, the eyes, or if you just stand still and hope its vision is based on movement. But if there's one thing we can deduce, even with limited information, it is if you kill the master, the slaves go too.
So instead of focusing your efforts on taking out the pawns on the chessboard, go for the queen. And you can take care of that filthy lady any way you please.
Is my fly undone?
Checkmate. Get it, 'cause of chess? So there you have it, the 3 types of zombies. And in the world of fiction, there are subcategories to these types. But here's something I bet you didn't know. There are some real-life zombie-isms in nature.
There is a rare form of fungus that was discovered by a man named Matt Fisher that takes over ants. The fungus infects the ant, causes it to crawl into shadow, then as the ant dies, the fungus rains down on other ants, spreading the fungus even further, creating more and more fungi-spreading insects.
So there are examples of the undead in nature and in today's news. Was the face eating in Florida really because of bath salts? Guess we'll never know, unless we do an autopsy. So on this episode of ITA, we're going to ask you which of the 3 types of zombie you think is most realistic. The walker, a reanimated corpse, a runner, a virally infected flesh eater, or a necromancer, a physically possessed minion of evil. So comment below and let us know what you think. Say goodbye, Zombie Rick.